Hello everyone. In this video I'm gonna show you how to use Git and how to create pull requests. If you haven't watched my previous video on Git plus GitHub configuration, please go ahead and watch it. I will leave the link to it in the description. So let's start by creating a new repository. I'm gonna name it a demonstration here. Please think of a good descriptive name for your repository that isn't too long. So it should contain the most information in the fewest amount of words. For me it's gonna be demonstration because this is just a demonstration. That makes sense. I'm gonna make it public. I'm gonna add a readme file which is going to be empty. Choose a gitignore template. It's gonna be a Python template for me. And I'm gonna pick an MIT license for this one. You can leave it without these press setup files. You can leave it empty if you want to. Okay, creating a repository. Now go ahead and open the code tab by pressing this button. Click the SSH subtab and copy the URL. I'm going to use my IDE's terminal and I will show you all the commands in the terminal instead of using the graphical interface of my IDE, because terminal commands are universal. They are the same no matter which program you use to run them. Graphical interface of your IDE is gonna be different, a little bit different from IDE to IDE. So that's the reason I'm showing you terminal commands. First of all, you need to change directory to the one containing your projects. For me, it's gonna be cd change directory and then 2 dots, which stands for one level up. That's the directory that contains all my projects. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the git clone command and then Ctrl+V to paste the link to the repository SSH URL. If you created your SSH with a passphrase, now you have to type it. And the cloning process started and completed successfully. You can check the successful completion status of your command by running the ls command here in the terminal. And you can see I have a demonstration newly created directory that was just created. Now Git uses the name corresponding to your repository name for creating a directory. Now I'm changing my current directory and getting inside the demonstration. For this I use cd command again. This time it's gonna be cd demonstration. If I run ls command here again, I will see the files that were created for me by GitHub templates. Now, what I'm gonna do next is I am going to open this demonstration directory as a project in my IDE. Let's open it in this window and navigate to terminal once again. Now let's run the git status command. It shows you your current branch, whether it's up to date with the branch on GitHub, which it is, and if there's something to commit. Now there's an interesting catch. If I close my IDE and open it again, and then check the status of my repository once again, I will see that my IDE created some service directories for me, and they are listed under the untracked files section. That means they are not marked for the next commit. We'll get to it pretty soon, but for now there are two areas: staging area, files marked for the next commit, and untracked files or unstaged files and unstaged changes. I don't want this directory in my repository. I don't want it to be added. So how do I ignore it? I do it by modifying the gitignore file, which was created from a Python template for me. I know if I scroll all the way down, I will find a template for it. So I'm gonna uncomment it, and if I run git status here again, I will see that this file is not shown in this section anymore. Instead, because I modified gitignore just a second ago, this file is listed under changes not staged for commit. I'm gonna add it to the staging area, which means changes marked for the next commit, by running git add and then the name of the file, and then git status again. You will see it's green again, which means changes to be committed. Okay, how do I commit it, and what does commit stand for? You can think of commits as checkpoints or save points in your repository. If I commit it, it's recorded in the repository in my branch. So I'm gonna run the command to commit it actually, and the command goes like this: git commit and then -m. After that, put the commit message. Let's say update.gitignore. Now this one will not work correctly because terminal treats these two separate words as two separate arguments. In order to treat them as a single argument, I'm gonna go ahead and put them into the pair of parentheses. Now it should work fine. Okay, I just added a new file, and if I run git status once again, no files here. It was just committed. So it's recorded in the history of my repository in my main branch. Now if I run git push, that change will be sent to my GitHub account, my GitHub repository. Now again, it asks me for a password. If I open my repository in GitHub, I will actually see these changes. So here, if I open gitignore, I will see that idea is uncommented, sorry. And I can see it in the history of my Git by running the git log command. There are two commits: initial commit, created for me by GitHub, where it stored the initial files, and my commit, update gitignore. Now let's move forward. In order to collaborate and review code of your peers, you need to create separate branches and create pull requests in GitHub. How do we do that? In order to create a new branch, you run the git checkout -p, which stands for a branch command, and then goes the name of your branch. Let's say feature accounts. Again, please think of a good name for your branch. I just created it and switched to it. If I run git branch command, I will see there are two branches, and I'm currently on the feature accounts branch. Let's create some files here. Let's do some actual work. I will go ahead and create a dummy file here. Let's call it accounts. And let's just... Okay, here my IDE asks me if I want to add it to the staging area. Instead of running git add once again, you know what? I'm gonna do it for you in the terminal again. So I'm gonna press cancel here, and we'll show you how to add multiple files later. Let's print hello world here. Just a dummy file. Now again, git status, account spy added but untracked. And if you have multiple files, you don't want to add them one by one, you could just run git add and then the asterisk. Now git status again, it's added to the staging area, changes to be committed. Let's commit it actually. Git commit -m add accounts feature. In the Git community, there is a standard that tells us to start commit messages with the verb in the imperative form. You will see a lot of developers actually violating this agreement in the real world. Okay, I just committed my account spy. Now I'm gonna push this change to GitHub. If you are doing it for the first time, again password. If you do it for the first time, you would not see the same message. For me, it was successful. For you, it won't unless you configured a specific setting that tells Git and GitHub to create remote branches automatically for you. Remote branch is a link to a branch on GitHub which corresponds to new branch, because GitHub doesn't know anything about your newly created branch which was done locally. That would be an error, but luckily Git will provide you with a hint, and you will see a command hint, something like git config global push dot auto setup remote true, something like that. I'm not 100% sure about this command, but you can go ahead and copy it from the git hint. I'm not running it, but you should, and after running this command you should git push again, and after running it for the second time with a setting in place, you will see an output like this. I'm gonna copy it and open it in a different browser. You can just click it and open it in your default browser. This is a link to create a new pull request. Add accounts feature is pre-filled for me based on my branch name. You can go ahead and add a description, you can leave it empty. And now let's create a pull request. Now, if you click on Files Changed, you will see all the changes you added to this branch. And then you can send the link to this pull request to your peers for review. Then they would be able to add comments. Something like, "Nice work." And they would be able to do it line by line and highlight all the changes they would request from you, or link their discussion to a particular part of your code. After that, after the review is completed and you have all the approvals, you can then merge your request into the main branch. I mean, merge the newly created branch. That's all I have for you for today. Please subscribe if you want to see new videos, and see you later.